හරිම සුමුදුයි.
Tonight on First at 9 this Monday, the 6th of November 2023. Captain Arjuna. Former World Cup winning captain Arjuna Ranatunga asked to lead Sri Lanka cricket again. Reviewers. Ministerial committee appointed in the wake of Sports Minister's sudden decision to suspend Sri Lanka cricket exco and appoint an interim committee. More rains. Heavy rains to continue for the next 2 days before a forecasted weather reprieve. Cyber League. The US, South Korea and Japan to form a consultative group to counter cyber activity with special focus on North Korea.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
This is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and a warm welcome to today's edition of AdaDerana's English News First at 9. I'm Jonathan Benedict. Let's take a look at our top story this evening, starting with the world of cricket in Sri Lanka. Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs Roshan Ranasinghe has appointed an interim committee for Sri Lanka cricket headed by Arjuna Ranatunga to inquire into corruption, malpractice, irregularities, misconduct and the failure to carry out its duties and functions. This comes in the wake of Sri Lanka's poor showing at the World Cup against lower-ranked nations and most notably after suffering a humiliating defeat at the hands of India on Thursday for a second consecutive time after the recently concluded Asia Cup final and following the revelation of a misappropriation of funds by the Sri Lanka Cricket Executive Committee during the T20 World Cup in Australia last year. Addressing the media interim committee, Chairman for Sri Lanka Cricket Arjuna Ranatunga pledged to make Sri Lanka cricket free of corruption and theft and build a team with discipline, aiming at World Cups in the future.
In the wake of Sri Lanka's humiliating 302-run defeat against India on the 2nd of November, massive public outcry against the governing board of Sri Lanka Cricket aggressively urged them to vacate their post immediately. The uproar was so strong that it resulted in public protests held in front of Sri Lanka Cricket over the past few days, calling for the resignation of the executive committee of the board to resign. Adding further pressure to the situation, Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs in a subsequent press release stated that the Cricket Board's Executive Committee and the Selection Committee should bear the responsibility for the recent defeats the national team faced. This culminated the minister under the powers vested in him per Sports Law No. 25 of 1973, which is on control of participants in sports representing Sri Lanka, appointed a 7-member interim committee for Sri Lanka cricket. Chaired by World Cup winning captain and chairman of the National Sports Council Arjuna Ranatunga, the committee includes retired Supreme Court Judge S.I. Imam, retired Supreme Court Judge Rohini Marasinghe, retired High Court Judge Irangani Pereira, Upali Dharmadasa, Attorney at Law Rakita Rajapaksa and Hisham Jamaldeen. Soon after the appointment of the interim committee, their duties and responsibilities were gazetted by the subject minister. Per the Gazette, the Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs suspended the registration of Sri Lanka Cricket, which is the National Association for Sport of Cricket, with effect from yesterday in view of the corruption, malpractices, irregularities, misconducts and for failing to carry out its duties and functions. He also stated that it is necessary to conduct an independent, transparent and trustworthy inquiry into such conduct and to take remedial actions. Via an extraordinary gazette, the minister has empowered the interim committee to inquire into and to take appropriate action in relation to the recommendations contained in the audit report on Sri Lanka's tour to Australia last year for the T20 World Cup, dated 11th of September 2023, issued by the Auditor General. The said report revealed that 40 members of Sri Lanka Cricket Executive Committee had travelled to Australia for the T20 World Cup last year by spending over 60 million rupees from SLC funds. The interim committee is also responsible to exercise the powers, functions and duties of Sri Lanka Cricket in an appropriate manner until remedial actions are taken by them to conduct the relevant inquiries independently, transparently and with integrity, and to make recommendations and strategic actions to ensure a cessation of such corruption. Following the appointment of the interim committee for Sri Lanka Cricket, a meeting was held between the committee members and the Minister of Sports at the Ministry of Sports this morning.
සුදුසුම පුද්ගලයා සභාපතිවරයා විදියට පත් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණ විනිසුරුවරු දෙදෙනෙකු සහ මහාධිකරණ විනිසුරුවරයෙක් පත් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ පහුගිය කාලේ වෙච්ච අක්‍රමිකතා සියල්ල පිළිබඳව කමිටුවක් විදියට විමර්ශන කටයුතු කරන්න.
සාමාජිකයන්ගේ පවුලේ කට්ටියක් අතුරුපාල කමිටුවේ ඉන්නවා. දුකේදී මාරුවක් විතරක් වේද මෙතනදී ධර්මදාස පවුලේ.
හරි උපාලි ධර්මදාස මහතා. ඔව් උපාලි ධර්මදාස මහතා කියන්නේ මේ රටේ විවේචනයකට ලක් වෙච්ච නැති සභාපතිවරයෙක් හිටපු. එතුමාගේ අතින් තමයි ගුවන් ටිකට් පත අරගෙන රටේ ක්‍රීඩාව වෙනුවෙන් ගිහිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. ඉතින් එහෙම අය තමයි ඕන.
Meanwhile, this morning, Chairman of the Interim Committee for Sri Lanka Cricket, Arjun Ranatunga, arrived at the Sri Lanka Cricket Office in Maitland Place in Colombo. Later, Ranatunga addressed media explaining the future plans of the Interim Committee for Sri Lanka Cricket.
මේ ක්‍රිකට් ආයතනය කියන මේ බ්‍රෑන්ඩ් එක ජරාම තැනකට පහුගිය කාලේ පත් වුණා. මගේ කමිටුවේ ප්‍රධානම අරමුණ තමයි මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා ක්‍රිකට් කියන ආයතනය රටේ තියෙන හොඳම ආයතනය බවට හොරකම් කරන්නේ නැති ආයතනයක් බවට පත් කරන්න. අපි ආයතනයේ ප්‍රධානීන් කරගෙන ගිය වැඩ ටික අඩුවිය දෙමින් හරි විදියට කරගෙන යන්න අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ට උපදෙස් දුන්නා. නෑ මම දන්න හැටි දැන් මාවත් අතුරුපාලක මණ්ඩලයේ සභාපති කෙනෙක් හැටියට දැන් මේ හිටපු ක්‍රීඩා ඇමතිවරයා 2008 දී මම හිතන්නේ ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඔඩිටර් රිපෝට් එකේ තියෙන මේ තිබ්බ දූෂණ ගැන තියෙන කණ්ඩායමක් අයින් කරපේකට විරුද්ධ වෙනවා කියලා. එතකොට එතුමා දන්නවා මම කවුද කියලා මම එතුමාත් එක්ක වැඩ කරපු කෙනෙක් හැටියට. එතුමා දන්නවා මේ ක්‍රිකට් කියන්නේ මොකද්ද කියන එකත්. මොකද මම සහ මගේ කණ්ඩායම මෙතන ඇවිල්ලා බලපෑම් කරන්නේ නෑ ටෙන්ඩර් කාටද දෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා හරි කොයි විදිහටද වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒක හරි විනෝදභාවයකින් වැඩේ කරන්න ඕනේ. මම මෙතනට ආවේ ක්‍රිකට් ටික හදලා දෙන්න. මම මේක හදනවා. මම මේ ගන්නේ ලොකු ලේසි පහසු දෙයක් නෙමෙයි. ඇත්තටම මට අද හරි සන්තෝෂ වුණා අද උදේ මාව මේකට පත් කරායි කියලා පත්වල මාධ්‍යයේ ගියාම ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවේ ඉන්න පරණ ක්‍රීඩකයෝ 6 දෙනෙක් මට කතා කරා. කතා කරලා කිව්වා අයියේ ඕන වෙලාවක අයියා ඉන්නවා නම් අවුරුද්දකට හරි ඇවිල්ලා උදව් කරලා යන්න. මට ඕනේ වැඩ කරන කට. අපේ තියෙනවා ක්‍රිකට් සැලසුමක්. ඒකේ මම ක්‍රිකට් මගේ යටතට ගන්න. මම ක්‍රිකට් වල බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා ඇඩ්වයිසරි කමිටි එකක් වගේ ප්‍රවීණයන්ගෙන් අරගෙන ඒ වගේම අපි පුහුණුකරුවන් දිහා හොඳට බලන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක මම තනියෙන් කරන එකක් නෙමෙයි. අපි ඉන්න අය එලවනවා කියනවා නෙමෙයි. හැබැයි ඉන්න අය දැනගන්න ඕනේ මට රිසල්ට්ස් එන්න. මෙතෙන්ට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන මගේ වැඩ ටික පැත්තක තියලා අන්තිම පාරට ක්‍රිකට් වෙනුවෙන් යම් වැඩ කොටසක් කරලා දෙන්න. කියනකොට මගේ ප්‍රධානම අරමුණ තියෙන්නේ 2020 World Cup එක. පුහුණුකරුවෙක් හැටියට එන්න හදනකොට අපි ඩොලර් 100ක් වැඩි කරන්න කිව්වහම අපි ඒ මනුස්සයාට යන්න ගියා. හැබැයි සුද්දෙක් පිට මෙහෙ ඉඳනකොට ඩොලර් 2000 3000 වැඩි කරන්න කිව්වොත් වැඩි කරනවා. එහෙම නෙමෙයි අපේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ වටිනාකම දැනගන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ පිටරට කෙනෙක් අපිට අවශ්‍ය නම් අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ අපේ එහෙම පුද්ගලයෝ නැත්තම්. දැන් මම දන්න මහිලා ජයවර්ධන දක්ෂ පුහුණුකරුවෙක්. මම දන්නේ මහිලා ජයවර්ධනට ඕන දේ මෙතන වෙනවද කියලා. එහෙම නැත්තම් සිල්ලවුට ඕන දේ මෙතන වෙනවද කියලා. ඉතින් මම කිව්වේ ප්‍රධානම දේ තමයි විනය. විනය පළවෙනියට හැදුවට පස්සේ ඊළඟට හදන්න ඕනේ ටීම් එකක්. ඉන්ඩිවිජුවල්ස්ලා හදන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. ටීම් එකක් හදන්න ඕනේ. එකට මට අහලා රටට වග කියන්න ඕනේ ටීම් එකක් හදලා මට මාස 3කින් හදාගත්තොත් මම ටාගට් කරන්නේ අර 2020 World Cup එක. ඒ නළුවෝ ටිකක් නෙමෙයි අපිට ඕනේ. ක්‍රීඩකයෝ ටිකක්. රටට වග කියන ක්‍රීඩකයෝ ටිකක්. රටට ආදරේ ටීම් එකක් මම හදලා දෙන්නම්. මම මේක එක්ක හදනවා කරන්න බැරි අය ඒගොල්ලෝ යයි. නෑ මෙහෙමයි මේ රටේ පහුගිය කාලවල වල වෙච්ච ෆ්‍රැන්චයිස් ලීග් වල උනේ බෙටිං කම්පැනිස් සහ ක්‍රිප්ටෝ කරන්සි කම්පැනිස් ඇවිල්ලා මේ රටේ අනිකර ආත්ම ගෞරවත්වය විනාශ කරා. ඒ ඕන ටෝර්නමන්ට්ස් ගහන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මම දන්නවා සමහර ක්‍රීඩකයන්ට ඒවයි මුදල් ගෙව්වේ නෑ. දැන් බලන්න කවුරුත් කතා කරන්නේ නෑ ගිය පාර LPL එකෙන් ගහලා වෙච්ච ඩැමේජස් මොනවද කියලා අපේ ප්‍රධාන පන්දු යවන්න ටික තුවාල වුණා. IPL එක ගැහුවේ මාස 6කට ඉස්සෙල්ලා. බලන්න අර බුම්රා කියන ෆාස්ට් බෝලරව IPL එක ගැස්සුවේ නෑ. ඉන්දියාවේ තීරණය ගත්ත මොකද එයා කොච්චර වටිනවද කියලා. එතකොට අපේ ක්‍රිකට් පරිපාලනය කරපු අය විතරක් නෙමෙයි ඔය පුහුණුකරුවෝද ටෙක්නිකල් කමිටිද කියන්න තිබුණා මේ වෙලාවේ නෙමෙයි IPL. මොකද අපේ ඒෂියා කප් එකයි වර්ල්ඩ් කප් එක දෙක එකට. ඒ දෙකම අපි විනාශ වුණේ ඔන්න ඔය අනවශ්‍ය තීරණ හින්දා. මම තව වගකීමෙන් කියන එකක් තියෙනවා අපිට අවුරුදු තව 12කටවත් ඉන්දියාව පාකිස්තාන ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ 50 වර්ල්ඩ් කප් එකක් නැහැ. එතකොට අපිට තිබ්බ chance එකක් විශාල chance එකක් අපි නැති කරගත්තා අපේ ක්‍රීඩකයෝ ටික නැති කරගෙන. අපිට දිනනවා කෙසේද මේ කණ්ඩායමත් එක්ක ලේසියෙන් සෙමි ෆයිනල් එකට යන්න තිබුණා අපේ ෆුල් ටීම් එක තිබුණා.
Staying on topic, the Cabinet of Ministers appointed a 4-member Cabinet subcommittee chaired by Minister of Foreign Affairs, President's Counsel Ali Sabri to look into the future activities of Sri Lanka cricket and the Sports Minister's recent gazette appointing an interim committee for Sri Lanka cricket, which we just covered in our previous story. The other members of the committee include Minister of Public Security Derana English, Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manu Shananekara, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijayasekara.
Despite the Minister of Sports and Youth appointing an interim committee for Sri Lanka cricket, it had reportedly not been conveyed to President Ranil Wickremesinghe, especially about the decision to appoint such a committee or the composition of its members. According to internal sources, the president had only come to know of the appointment of such an interim committee for Sri Lanka cricket through media reports. As a result, the matter was discussed at the cabinet meeting this evening. During the meeting, a decision was made to appoint a 4-member cabinet subcommittee to scrutinise the gazette issued by Sports Minister Roshan Ranasinghe, appointing an interim committee for Sri Lanka cricket. The cabinet subcommittee, which will be headed by Minister of Foreign Affairs President's Council Ali Sabre, will comprise Minister of Public Security Tiran Alas, Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manusha Nanayakkara, and Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara.
The Department of Meteorology stated that despite the heavy rainfall which unleashed on Colombo today and forecast for tomorrow and the day after, rainfall is expected to subsequently subside. The National Building Research Organisation, however, has preemptively issued early landslide warnings to 5 districts in the island in the wake of the heavy rains that have been experienced thus far.
Several areas around the island, including Colombo, experienced heavy rainfall last night and this afternoon, with certain areas in Colombo flooding in a short span of time. The highest rainfall of 150 mm during the past 24 hours was reported from the Hakpatuna area in Kurunegala. In other related news, a mound of earth collapsed onto the road last evening near the 179-mile post on the Colombo-Badula main road. Measures to clear the road for traffic are underway. Due to risks of more landslides in the area, residents of 5 houses in close proximity to the area of the incident voluntarily evacuated their residences. Meanwhile, traffic on the Habutale Valimada road came to a complete halt after a mound of earth collapsed onto the road in the Walgahavala area. Subsequently, the National Building Research Organisation issued early landslide warnings to 32 divisional secretariat divisions of 5 districts. Due to heavy rainfall, water levels of several rivers and reservoirs have reached their capacity and are overflowing, resulting in certain reservoirs opening their sluice gates. 8 sluice gates of the Rajangane Reservoir and 5 sluice gates of Angamo Reservoir continue to remain open. As sluice gates of the Rajangane and Angamo reservoirs remain open, the Thambutegama-Nochiyagama road was inundated due to the overflowing of the Lunuwava reservoir. Lowlands in the area are flooded due to this. 2 sluice gates of the Kotmale reservoir were also opened due to heavy rainfall. 8 sluice gates of the Daduroya were opened due to intense rainfall in the area and are releasing 17,200 cubic feet of water per second. The Polgolla Reservoir also opened its sluice gates and released water to the Victoria Reservoir with a capacity of 5,000 cubic feet of water per second. Meanwhile, due to the overflowing of the Nilwala River, residents of Akurasa and Athuraliya continue to be inconvenienced due to flooding in the areas. Several small reservoirs around the Mihintale area have started to overflow due to heavy rainfall, namely the Seepukulama, Thammannava, Nochikulama and Kirindegama reservoirs. Due to heavy rainfall, the railway transportation from Chilo to Putlam was limited to the Bangadene railway station since the Batuluoya railway line was inundated. Meanwhile, the Chilo-Putlam road as well as the Batuluoya Mahavidyalaya premises were flooded. The body of a person who was washed away in a flood in the Siripalla area in Yakwila was recovered along with his motorcycle today. The deceased was identified as a 48-year-old male. Incidents of fallen trees due to bad weather conditions continue to be reported in from several areas in Padukka. A tree collapsed in front of a supermarket in the new town of Anuradhapura. With the island experiencing inclement weather, the Met Department highlighted that heavy rainfall is expected to gradually decrease in the coming days.
අද දිනේත් අපි තරමක තදවැසි අපේක්ෂා කරනවා බස්නාහිර, සබරගමු, දකුණු, මධ්‍යම, ඌව වගේ පළාත්වල සහ උතුරු මැද වගේ පළාත්වල අදට සාපේක්ෂව හෙට දිනේ අනිද්දා වගේ ගත්තම සන්ධ්‍යා කාලයේ හෝ රාත්‍රී කාලයේ වැසි තත්ත්වයන් ඇති වෙනවා. හැබැයි ප්‍රමාණාත්මකව අඩුවීමකුත් අපි අපේක්ෂා කරනවා.
12 suspects engaged in illicit liquor production were apprehended with 6,000 bottles of the liquor seized during the raid. The bottles reportedly had fraudulent stickers on them as they were being prepared for sale. In Colombo, meanwhile, a 52-year-old residing in Colombo in possession of 2 kilograms of Kerala cannabis was arrested by the police as the police drugs crackdown continues. With that, let's take a look at other developments from around the island in brief.
Following a raid conducted on an illicit liquor distillery, over 6,000 bottles of illicit liquor were seized by the Dompe police. The police also apprehended 12 suspects in line with the incident. The bottles of illicit liquor reportedly had fraudulent safety stickers pasted on them. An individual who had Kerala cannabis in possession was apprehended by the Colombo Crimes Division. The arrested suspect was confirmed as a 52-year-old residing in Colombo. The Piliandara Sipetco filling station in Bokundara, operating under the multipurpose cooperative societies, which was sealed off due to financial irregularities, was handed over to the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation. It was initially revealed that a motherboard which was stolen from the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation was attached to a fuel pump. Preliminary investigations revealed that an electrician of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation who allegedly installed the motherboard has been suspended from duty.
The spokesperson for UNICEF Sri Lanka, Bismarck Swangin, highlighted the importance of youth engagement amidst the climate crisis, adding that children and youth are the basis of the climate crisis action plan established by the UNICEF. Speaking at an event in Colombo, the President's senior advisor on climate change, Ruwan Wijewardena, emphasized the importance of climate change for a country's economy, food security and national security. He further unveiled the plans of the President to develop the country via achieving a green economy and commented on the plans to establish an international climate change university in Sri Lanka.
An event was held in Colombo yesterday by the National Youth Climate Action Forum in a move to inspire the youth to actively engage towards the climate crisis.
The climate crisis that we are talking about here is a serious crisis. It is a children's crisis. The risk that all of us face outpaces the action that is being undertaken both here and across the world. And it is important that we step up our action because we have seen the impact of climate change on our lives. The greatest impact of the climate crisis is on the children, the youngest members of the society who form the foundation of the country and the future of the country. For us at UNICEF, it is important that children and young people are at the center of the climate crisis action plan. It is therefore extremely important that the work that the young people are doing continues in terms of engaging them, that they are part of the solution and that they are part of the climate action. Part of the work that the young people have been doing is developing the provincial action plans. And we hope as UNICEF to stay engaged, particularly with the young people and other stakeholders, to ensure that the provincial action plans that the young people develop are put into action.
ලංකාවේ ආර්ථිකය වාගේම ආහාර සුරක්ෂිතභාවයට ඒ වගේම ජාතික ආරක්ෂාවට විශාල ලෙසින් දේශගුණික විපර්යාසය බලපානවා. ලෝක බැංකු වාර්තා අනුව 2050 වෙනකොට අපේ දළදේශීය නිෂ්පාදනයේ 101.2ක පාඩුවක් ලංකාවට ලැබෙයි කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ. හැම වසරකම දේශගුණික විපර්යාස නිසා අපිට ඩොලර් මිලියන ගණනාවක පාඩුවක් ලැබෙනවා. අපේ කෘෂිකර්මයේ විශාල බලපෑමක් තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා තමයි ඇත්තම ජනාධිපතිතුමාත් මේ රටේ තියෙන මේ ආර්ථික ප්‍රශ්නත් එක්ක එතුමා බලන්නේ හරිත ආර්ථිකයක් මේ තුලින් මේ රට සම්බන්ධ ලංකාව. ඒ වගේම විශේෂම තරුණ සමාජය ගැන හිතලා එතුමා දේශගුණික විපර්යාසය ජාත්‍යන්තර විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයක් ස්ථාපනය කරන්නට එතුමා දැන් බලාපොරොත්තු. ඒකට කටයුතු අපි ආරම්භ කළා. අපි ජාත්‍යන්තර වශයෙන් අංගිදාන විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ගණනාවත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරගෙන යනවා. ජාත්‍යන්තර විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ගණනාවක් අපිත් එක්ක එකතු වෙන්න ඒගොල්ලෝ අදහස් දක්වලා තියෙනවා. මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා ලබන අවුරුද්ද වෙනකොට ඒවට වැඩ කටයුතු අපිට ආරම්භ කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි.
දැන් මේ අපි කියන්නේ ලෝකයේ ඉකෝසිස්ටම් ලෝකෝවේෂන් දශකය. ඒකට දැන් මෙන්න මේ වැව් මිනිස්සු හැදුවට මේවා අද නැචරල් සිස්ටම් බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඒකට පත් වෙනවා ඒක නැවත ප්‍රතිස්ථාපනය කිරීමේ පාරිසරික වැදගත්කම මොකක්ද කියන එක අපි ඒ අයට තේරුම් කරලා දෙන්නවා. මෙන්න මේ කරලා දෙනවා තමයි මේ ඔබේ තරුණයන් ලබා ගන්නවා. ඒ දැනුම අරගෙන ගිහිල්ලා තමයි ජනතාව සමග වැඩ කරන්නේ.
Welcome back. Private gas supplier Lavs Gas PLC has decided not to increase the prices for liquefied petroleum or LP gas for the month of November, despite the current global price hike. Cluster CEO of Lavs Gas, Dr. Niroshan J. Pires, confirmed that Lavs Gas will be catered to the general public at the same prices as those of the month in October.
Amidst ensuing price hike in the global market, Sri Lanka's state-run domestic liquefied petroleum gas supplier Litrogas Lanka recently revised its gas prices for the month of November. However, domestic distributor Lavs Gas PLC has decided not to follow suit and will not increase their gas prices for this month. Cluster CEO of the Lavs Gas PLC, Dr. Niroshan J. Piri, said that Lavs Gas will be sold at the same price as of that of the month of October.
Although the world gas prices have risen from $6.5 as well as the rupee being devaluated over the past couple of days, although we have to increase the prices of gas, depending on the market situation, we have decided not to increase the prices of Lavs Gas. As a result, we will continue to cater to our customers at the same prices of what we had in the month of October. That's 12.5 kilogram gas cylinder at 3,985 rupees, as well as the 5 kg gas cylinder at 1,595 rupees.
The Colombo Stock Exchange today launched regulated short selling through stock borrowing and lending. The CSE in a statement today said that a few RSS and SPL transactions were recorded on the first day itself, concurrent with the launch. RSS and SPL transactions allow investors with idle portfolios the opportunity of lending their shares for a specific period, providing an additional fee-based income. Further, it also lends investors the opportunity to borrow shares and profit off a potentially declining market. This initiative aims to promote market efficiency and enhance liquidity while improving market microstructure, aligning with international standards and best practices. Prior to the launch, CSE conducted multiple workshops and awareness sessions for market stakeholders and the general public on the RSS and SBL devices. Staying on topic, the Colombo Stock Exchange closed in green today after a gain in consumer staples and industrial stocks countered losses in communication services firms. The Colombo Stock Exchange All-Share Price Index closed marginally up 0.02% to end at 10,791.99 points. Sri Lanka Telecom PLC were among the biggest losers, down 1.02%, while CT Holdings PLC fell 3.07%. Melster Corp PLC and Expo Lanka Holdings PLC were the top gainers on the ASPI, rising 5.22% and 1.15% respectively. Trading volume on the index fell to 15.1 million shares from 16.5 million shares in the previous session. The S&P SL20 meanwhile climbed 0.5% to settle at 3,046.51 points. Equity market turnover rose to 780.3 million rupees from 513.5 million rupees in the previous session. The capital goods sector was the top contributor to market turnover, while the food, beverage and tobacco sector was the second highest contributor. Foreign investors were net sellers, offloading stocks worth 329.3 million rupees, while domestic investors were net buyers, purchasing shares worth 549.2 million rupees. Dilushka Dimel now joins us with a few thoughts to round off our market outlook segment for the week.
The ASPI closed at 10,789 on Friday, 100 basis points above the previous week. However, the turnover for the week declined 29% to 3.4 billion rupees, amidst concerns over the pending budget reading and the lower than anticipated earnings of the companies so far. The starting of short selling in the market resulted in some positive momentum in the first half of the day. However, the second half of the day did not hold this same momentum, with the market ending 10 basis points above Friday's close. We expect this sentiment to remain in the market until further clarity is obtained on the budget scheduled to be read on the 13th of November. From a fixed income front, the bond auction held on the 30th of October saw all bids rejected, possibly due to the higher bids which were placed in the auction not being in line with the monetary targets of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. The bill auctioned for 145 billion rupees on the 1st of November received bids worth of 279 billion, with 139 billion being accepted. The weighted average yield of the 3-month bill saw a decline of 17 basis points to 15.93 at this auction. From a global commodity perspective, global oil prices closed 2% lower on Friday, with US job growth slowing in October more than expected.
Now let's have a look at how the rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce recently launched the Sri Lanka-Indonesia Business Council, which will extend the Ceylon Chamber's global business and industry network, enhancing member access to business and trade promotion opportunities while promoting economic cooperation between both nations. With that, here's a look at our corporate affairs segment for the day.
The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce recently launched the Sri Lanka-Indonesia Business Council, which will extend the Ceylon Chamber's global business and industry network, enhancing member access to business and trade promotion opportunities while promoting economic cooperation between the two countries. Addressing the event that launched the council, Indonesian ambassador in Colombo, Dewi Gustina Tobing, hailed the council as a promising initiative to enhance long-standing political and economic relations between Indonesia and Sri Lanka. She added that the proposed preferential trade agreement and the substantial opportunities it represents can unlock advantages for both countries. She encouraged Sri Lankan companies to participate in the annual trade expo in Indonesia to explore potential collaborations. Meanwhile, consolidating its efforts to revive the economy at its grassroots, Sri Lanka's leading private sector bank, HMB plc, allocated 10 million rupees as a grant fund for 100 microfinance entrepreneurs under its flagship Oboenueng Api initiative to rebuild their businesses. Established by the HMB Sustainability Foundation, the grant aims to provide up to 100,000 rupees as financial assistance to select microfinance customers, enabling them to strengthen their businesses and ultimately working towards achieving SME status. In the meantime, Leeson's Hospital introduced 3D laparoscopy tests and surgeries for the first time in Sri Lanka. The event was patronised with the presence of Dr. Rajesh Modi and Professor Rohan Sirivardhana, together with over 150 specialist consultants in Sri Lanka.
The cargo team of Sri Lankan Airlines was awarded the Emerging Cargo Airline Award at the recent Arabian Cargo Awards held in Dubai. The award ceremony was organised by Middle East's leading cargo magazine Cargo Talk. As such, the ceremony honoured the star performers of the cargo and logistics community of the Middle East and bolstered Sri Lanka's cargo position as a growing constant in the air trade links between South Asia and the Middle East. Commenting on the achievement, the General Manager of the Cargo of Sri Lankan Airlines expressed his pleasure, adding that Sri Lankan Cargo is eager to support the trade routes between the region and South Asia and beyond, with an expansive network of seamless flight connections and a superior service. The US, South Korea and Japan are to launch a consultative group on countering cyber activity conducted by North Korea. The trilateral high-level consultative group is expected to strengthen the three nations' capabilities in responding to global cyber threats, including North Korean cyber activity.
The United States, South Korea and Japan have agreed to launch a high-level consultative group on countering North Korean cyber activities. South Korea's presidential office said that North Korea finances its unlawful weapon programs through these cyber activities. The US Deputy National Security Advisor for Cyber and Emerging Technologies held talks with her South Korean and Japanese counterparts in Washington last week. The South Korean presidential office added that they agreed to hold quarterly meetings under the new framework. The new initiative is aimed at strengthening the three countries' effective response capabilities against global cyber threats, including jointly countering North Korea's cyber activities that are abused as a key source funding its nuclear and WMD programs. The announcement comes after the leaders of the three countries agreed at a summit in August that they would establish a new trilateral working group for the North's cyber threats. Sanctions monitors have accused North Korea of using cyber attacks to gather funds for its nuclear and missile programs, and United Nations reports said the North Korea stepped up its cryptocurrency theft last year, using sophisticated techniques to steal more in 2022 than any other year. North Korea, however, has denied allegations of hacking. Interest rates would be normalized in line with the inflation expectations prediction, which is a single digit towards the end of the fourth quarter this year.
That's all the news I have for you. I'm Jonathan Benedict. Have a blessed Tuesday ahead. Good night.